He's not even listed under that, but there was somebody else's name under that same file as mine. So that's two people now, and that's two people other than me. So that's three people total that I know she's been with. So, I mean, you tell me do the math.
What?
You do the math.
What are you talking about?
So, like, we were having sex around the end of November, beginning of December of 2015.
This is a shady situation from the beginning.
You said it's shady.
It's a shady.
Oh, who's shady?
I never had a conception date.
This is a shady
Your Honor,
situation.
never had.
Okay, hold on. Wait, just wait.
44-year-old Mr. Lewis believes 61-year-old Mr. McAlister is his biological father, but Mr. McAlister beloved otherwise, and he's convinced Mr. Lewis's mother may have muddled things up when she told Mr. Lewis whatever story she told him.
Mr. Lewis, you say you've always known the defendant is your father and say his paternity denials are mere excuses as to why he was not there for you. You hope today's results put an end to this 44-year-old mystery. Is that correct?
Yes.
Mr. McAlister, you claim.
These two full-grown men are in Judge Lake Paternity Court to find out if Mr. McAlister truly fathered Mr. Lewis 44 years ago, or Mr. McAlister's opinion about knowing who really fathered Mr. Lewis is right.
How has Mr. McAlister's denial affected you?
Well, growing up in South Central Los Angeles, you know, it was tough not having a father there. You know, knowing that you have one, you know, just different things that went on through my life that, you know, not having a man there to answer different questions, you know.
Mr. Lewis explained politely how not having his father accept him as a son did a number in his life, as it was quite tough to roll with that. But Mr. Lewis' future turned out better than most kids in his situation did. Man is a college football coach. Way to go, Mr. Lewis. But we still need to know if Mr. McAlister is his real daddy.
Mr. McAlister, do you hear Mr. Lewis's testimony?
Yes, I do.
It was very difficult growing up knowing he had a dad, but that he was nowhere to be found.
Yes, ma'am.
Why is that? Were you doubtful all of these years?
Yes, ma'am. And the reason why I was doubtful is because I heard maybe 3 or 4 different versions of.
3 to 4 different versions? Whew. That can put doubts in anyone's mind, to be honest. But a DNA test would have sufficed and cleared your doubts, Mr. McAlister.
Mr. McAlister, can you tell the court what was the nature of your relationship with Mr. Lewis's mother?
Me and Miss Lewis, we attend the same high school together, and I knew her as a casual friend. However, the young lady that I was dating at the time, we either had our differences or whatever, and somehow me and Mrs. Lewis.
Oh, wow. It was a one-time thing, and Mr. Lewis's mother supposedly kept the result of it. It seems Mr. Lewis's mother already had a crush on Mr. McAlister, and then laying today was her greatest joy, and she couldn't let it go. She had to keep the baby as a souvenir. Sorry, Mr. Lewis.
So what did you hear about the relationship, Mr. Lewis?
Well, with my mom, you know, because the type of woman she was, she didn't want to allow the turmoil from that, a fear, interfere with my life. But as a woman, we had to move on.
What did she say specifically?
She let me know who he was as a father. She had a picture of him.
Was this always just, got this picture and you had the name? Did you ever say, I want to look for him? Where is he?
I was roughly probably a junior in high school, so I had a lot of things going on.
Okay, Mr. Lewis's mother told him about his father in high school, but it's rare to think a high school kid would want to go looking for his long-lost father. He already had enough school situations to deal with. Only a few high schoolers would be willing to add daddy issues to the list.
Kind of, you know, moving on with my life.
So she gave you the picture of him when you were in high school?
Yeah, at that point, yeah.
Okay, so Mr. McAlister, all of this time, Mr. Lewis says it wasn't until high school that he even got a picture of you from his mother. All this time, you never knew you potentially had a son?
No, ma'am. I traveled to Los Angeles back in '81, and I ran into a relative of the family.
Oops. Mrs. Lewis dug a really deep hole for her son, seeing as she told Mr. Lewis's potential father that the son's real father was dead. Only Mrs. Lewis understood her reason for lying like that to her baby's supposed biological father. Or was she not sure at that moment who the real father was? Again, only Mrs. Lewis can answer the question.
I also heard that it could have been my first cousin, Michael. Unfortunately, I don't know. I also heard that, as I said, that a family member told me there was someone from the location, the city that I stayed in, and then I also heard from the mom that he died. So those are 4 different versions. The young lady that I was dating back during this time, she was the first one that brought it to my attention because she knew me very well. She knew I'm an accountable man. She knew what my morals were. I used to look down on men that would not be supportive to their son. And for me to...
Cousin? Oh, there were really a number of versions for real, and that could mess with anyone. But then again, Mr. McAlister was hearing all of these from the person he was dating. What if she was lying so no one would threaten her life in her man's life? You never know. However, Mrs. Lewis also made it hard to understand, so this is a little bit confusing altogether.
I'm sure there was opportunities that she let him know. That's why when she told him, and I'm not sure if she did say that, but I can see my mother, if she did say he was dead, it was to protect me because we had already moved. Things were, you know what I'm saying? When he didn't show up and do what he was supposed to do, and she knew that, she had to move forward. Single mother.
Would let the father know. She's never told me that she was pregnant by me. She's never told me that I was his father. To today, when I finally found out about that there was a possibility here, my thing is, again, like I said, before I leave here, within myself.
Mr. Lewis says his mother told Mr. McAlister that lie to protect him. Okay, if you say so, Mr. Lewis. Mr. McAlister then says Mrs. Lewis never reached out to him, and that was his first reason for being negligent about the baby 44 years ago. Anyway, just like Mr. McAlister highlighted, we need to know the truth too.
When it comes to 44-year-old Jermaine Lewis, it has been determined by this court. Mr. McAlister, you are the father.
Mr. Nelson isn't ready to accept or take responsibility for a baby he believes isn't his, since he knows, and Hardin wasn't loyal to him during the baby's window of conception. On the other hand, Miss Hardin claims Mr. Nelson is the biological father of her 2-month-old daughter.
Ms. Hardin, you have opened your case today in hopes of saving your relationship with the defendant. You say, due to a misunderstanding, he is now denying your 2-month-old daughter, Sophia Nelson. You are certain he is the father, and once proven, you want his help raising your daughter. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Nelson, you refuse to lift a finger for a child that isn't yours. You say you are one.
Mr. Nelson claims he even knows the real biological father of baby Sophia, as he's 1,000% sure it was not his sperm that fertilized Mr. Hardin's egg that resulted in the baby. But Ms. Hardin says that's not true, and what she wants is his help after he confirms paternity of the child.
Delonte doesn't help me with anything. He doesn't help me financially. He won't pick up a diaper. He won't watch her for 15 minutes while I go to the store. He won't watch her for 15 minutes while I get in the shower. He walk past her like she Casper. When she cried, he'd be like, hey, get your daughter crying. Your daughter wants you, get her, get her.
So Mr. Nelson wasn't joking about not considering the baby to be his. Man won't even help his supposed baby mama care for the little child. Yeah, it's understandable if Mr. Nelson doesn't want to accept the baby because he has his doubts, but caring for 15 minutes for a little baby won't hurt anyone.
I don't see why I should have to do all of that if I'm not 100% sure that I'm the father.
My baby looks just like you. You denying her, she look just like you. Y'all cheeks, y'all face structure, your forehead, your eyes.
Like you.
No, she don't look like me.
And there it is. Mr. Nelson doesn't believe in caring for the baby in any way solely because he believes the baby isn't his. Okay, Mr. Nelson, but why are you still cohabiting with the baby's mother when you have this much doubt about the baby and her mama? Not being around is better than being around and acting up.
I look like my mom.
Mr. Nelson, you are basically saying that Ms. Hardin's testimony is correct. I really want to understand the nature of your relationship, how you all met.
I met her when I went down to Louisiana with my family. I thought she was cool. She wanted to move with me to Arkansas.
Wait a minute, how did we get there?
Right. No, that is not how it went.
Yes, it is.
So how did it happen, Ms. Hardin?
When he came down to visit with his family members, we became friends first, and then when it was time for him to go back to Louisiana with his family, he asked me, do you want to come with me or do you want to stay?
How long was he there?
Oh, it's a tough one. Ms. Hardin went away based on the infamous line, "You can come if you want to." Ms. Hardin, it's most likely a man doesn't want you around if he says that to you.
With this young man, and you didn't think he was the kid type. And why are you following behind him?
I didn't really have anybody. My mom died when I was 12. My dad's not in my life. My grandmother, she's not really there either.
You say it.
Yes, ma'am.
So you were feeling alone in the world.
Yes. Yeah, and I never really had nobody in my life talk to me. You know, nobody, they would like talk, but they wouldn't listen to where I was coming from. They didn't listen to what I had to say, and he was there for me, and I gravitated towards it.
So you wanted to have his baby because this was a person now that I decided.
Felt like I was gonna be with him for the rest of my life.
Right.
That was quite emotional. Sorry about the rough experience, Ms. Hardin. But we are here for baby Sophia, so she wouldn't go through the same thing. Ms. Hardin thought Ninder Nelson would be the one who wouldn't leave her life and hurt her. But that's not enough reason to have a baby for a man who doesn't want to be a father, though.
So take me to the birth.
He was semi there, I call it.
At least I was there.
Okay, but that don't count. That don't count.
A lot of dudes wouldn't even be there.
He watched her be pushed out. He waited for my daughter to be weighed and wiped off, and he told me, that's a white man's baby, and walked out of the hospital room.
What?
Because she came out like really like.
That's
like
how she came out.
She didn't look like that.
She been in the womb.
Come on, I'm black though. A black baby go come out with some type of blackness on him.
Leaving the ID at home on purpose isn't the same thing as not signing the birth certificate because the baby looked white, Mr. Nelson. Mr. Nelson already had it in mind. He wasn't going to sign the birth certificate either. The baby came out black or white.
Okay, Your Honor. It all started, we went back to Arkansas, got our own place together. Around that time, her ex-boyfriend, John, and his baby mother, which is Rachel, at the time, didn't have nowhere to go, so they wanted to come stay with us. But that being her ex-boyfriend, I thought it was disrespectful. I said no, she still went along with it anyway, and I found that suspicious, because if that was your ex and y'all had relations, why would you want to be under the same roof as him with me? So I got mad and I left during that time.
But if he was with his new wife or girlfriend or fiance, why would it matter if they needed a place to stay for a moment?
Because before I even knew her, all three of them had sexual relations with each other. So everything was cool. I thought, everything's fine. I wasn't, suspecting none because I had no proof until I went through her phone and I found text messages of John texting her, hey, baby.
Boyfriend, John, is really Sophia's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
You were intimate with this couple.
Yes, I do.
And you admit you were intimate with them when Mr. Nelson left the house.
No.
Wait a minute. Did Mr. Nelson just say Ms. Hardin was involved in the three-way sexual activity? Mr. Nelson has the right to have doubt. And what's with the text message? Oh, Ms. Hardin did some nasty work before the birth of baby Sophia. So Ms. Hardin's ex is another potential father to Sophia.
Do admit that you were intimate with this couple.
Yes, I do.
And you admit you were intimate with them when Mr. Nelson left the house.
No.
John Patterson.
Do you think you're Sophia's father? That's what I want to know.
No, it's impossible.
Yeah, now you don't.
So why
are you denying
are they
now?
testifying that you were on the phone saying, what are we gonna do about our baby? You know that's my baby.
I never said that. They're both delusional.
You never claimed this child.
No, actually, I got text messages and screenshots.
Okay, so Ms. Hardin admits she did what Mr. Nelson was talking about. Cool, but she doesn't admit to the remaining allegations. However, the ex that has been causing a stir is here, and he says both Mr. Nelson and Ms. Hardin are delusional about thinking the baby might belong to him. This twist can only be settled with the DNA test result.
Pertaining to whether Mr. Patterson or Mr. Nelson is the father of 2-month-old Sophia Nelson. It has been determined by this court. The biological father is Mr. Nelson. You are the biological father.
N.S. Hawthorne wants to prove to that deadbeat father Mr. Brown, who used to be her lover, is the father of her baby. But Mr. Brown is also claiming Ms. Hawthorne knows for sure that he is not the real father of her child.
You are here today because you say your high school sweetheart, Mr. Brown, is a smooth-talking deadbeat who got you pregnant 3 years ago and is now denying your baby. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Brown, you say Ms. Hawthorne is a desperate liar who will say and do anything in order to have a family with you. You claim there is no way you could have fathered her child, and you intend to prove that today. Is that correct?
Oh, it's a high school sweetheart kind of case, but Ms. Hawthorne claims Mr. Brown is a smooth talker who could easily sweep us all off our feet. However, Mr. Brown says Ms. Hawthorne is just a liar who would say anything to make a family with him. Okay, but you did sleep with each other. Both the smooth talker and the liar fall in the same category.
Thorne, why do you say Mr. Brown is a deadbeat?
He doesn't do anything for Chase. He doesn't come see him, anything.
And that makes you so angry?
Yes.
Because you feel like he's not honoring his responsibility?
Right, and plus I grew up without a father, so I don't want my kid.
Sorry about that, Ms. Hawthorne. Nobody deserves to grow up without a father, but Mr. Brown doesn't believe he's Chase's father, and that's probably his reason for not being around for him. We need to hear the other side of the story anyway.
Hawthorne says you acting like a deadbeat. Why?
Your Honor, this baby isn't mine. I desperately believe that she's emotionally attached to me and she desperately wants to have a family with me.
It's not true because me and DeAndre, we were in a relationship. You know, I was all about him and everything. Everything was good until he started cheating.
Emotional attachment, you say, Mr. Brown. You laid with that woman. You should have considered that may be part of the results you'd get from that, aside from potentially having a baby together. And Mr. Brown was cheating? Okay.
Well, Your Honor, we was living in two different parts of the city. So she was living in the suburbs. At the first beginning of the relationship.
What does that have to do with cheating?
Yeah, that's true.
This doesn't even make any sense now. So
Yes.
you went to high school together?
No, we were separate. He's in Chicago and I'm in the suburbs.
Oh, there was an online dating situation before graduating to getting laid, and a baby coming in between. Okay. Ms. Hawthorne seems like she's using the last shred of energy in her to talk about this, but Mr. Brown, he's here for the laughs.
We only had sex one time, and that was in 2014 in August.
Nah.
That only one time. We wasn't going back and forth. I wanted to continue to
Okay,
move on.
so
Mr. Brown says they had sexual intercourse just once. So who's gonna tell Mr. Brown it just takes about 30 seconds to make a baby as long as the male and the female parties are fertile? The one time doesn't even have to be up to a minute, Mr. Brown. But then again, we can't judge yet since we don't know the father of the baby.
And so therefore you can't be Chase's biological father.
Correct, because before I came to her, I had sex with my girlfriend.
What? Okay.
You had sex with your girlfriend before you came to see Miss Hawthorne?
Correct, Your Honor.
This doesn't make any kind of sense.
And I missed my period in January. So like we were having sex around the end of November, beginning of December of 2015.
This is a shady situation from the beginning.
Now, Mr. Brown says he didn't get to finish this activity, meaning he didn't get to the part which could lead to the baby being formed, but Ms. Hawthorne says that's not what happened. So what happened?
Your Honor, she had a boyfriend at the time.
Okay.
I did not. Me and this guy, we were roommates. We decided in
Your Honor.
June of 2015 to move in together.
Is this a guy you've been intimate with ever?
No, never at all. He was just a friend.
So you're gonna move in with someone and not have sex with them.
Yes.
A male being is not
Yes.
gonna try anything with you to
No,
have sex.
not if he's just a friend. Not if we never had that type of relationship.
But how would he feel about that?
A male roommate? Just a friend? That's almost impossible, Ms. Hawthorne. If he's homosexual, maybe it's applicable, but if it's the other way around, oh, it only takes the grace of God for that to just be a plain friendship in the same room.
And you say Mr. Brown hasn't been a part of his life at all?
Not at all. He's only seen him 4 times.
Your Honor, I feel trapped in the situation.
How?
I feel trapped.
How do you feel trapped?
Because first off, you didn't let me know that you was pregnant until 14 weeks later.
Okay, so you trapped yourself in the backseat of the car when you really should have come and broke up with her, but instead you decide to have sex with her because you sitting around here. No, really.
Mr. Brown feels trapped in the situation as he thinks Ms. Hawthorne is just trying so hard to drag him into what he isn't interested in. However, we really need to know who the owner of the baby is, Mr. Brown or the roommate who was a plain friend.
Versus Brown. When it comes to 2-year-old Chase Hawthorne, it has been determined by this court. Brown, you are not the father.
Mr. Lillard wants to know if he truly fathered 20-year-old Delvin Holt, but Ms. Holt claims there's no need for him to even doubt paternity because it's as clear as day that the child belongs to him.
Mr. Lillard, you say you were forced to open this case after receiving a message last year from Ms. Holt's 20-year-old son, Delvin Holt. Ms. Holt, you say you have unsuccessfully tried for 20 years to get Mr. Lillard to accept responsibility for your son, Delvin, and And today is the day he is finally going to accept.
So Ms. Holt decided to finally put a call through to Mr. Lillard just a year before coming to paternity court. And that's the reason Mr. Lillard is here. Ms. Holt wants her 20-year-old Sim to know who his father is without a doubt.
Me and Ms. Holt met back in 1997, summer school, high school. She'd go out to eat with my mom, I'd take out to eat. I was in love with her. I cared about her. You know, I experienced a lot of things with Ms. Holt. She was the first for a lot of experience. And
your first for a lot of experiences?
A lot of experience.
A lot. Dro said a lot.
A lot of experience.
Seem very experienced
Some
to me.
I can't even say, but you know.
Which one does Mr. Lillard want us to believe? Mr. Lillard says Ms. Holt was his first in many activities as they were in love, but she's not the one he lost his virginity to. Maybe Ms. Holt whispering on the side that Mr. Lillard seemed experienced wasn't lying after all.
She's the first woman I went downtown on.
Oh my, okay.
First woman experienced a lot of
Okay,
other
that's
things.
too much information.
But
Really.
I'm just saying, I had a lot of admiration for her. But she was also my first heartbreak, first person I really experienced what pain was. So, you know, and you know, it's not been no back and forth fighting over the years. It's been a very cordial thing. But she made some mistakes that cost everybody a lot of pain right now, me and him.
That little poor boy doesn't need to be hearing what his potential father and his mother were doing while they were in high school. That's too much information for real, as Ms. Holt stated. And first heartbreak? That could be accepted since everyone knows how rough that could be.
We was in a good relationship. We really didn't have any problems. I love Darius. He know that. We did some things that we shouldn't have been doing at the time, and with those actions, we have Delvin now. So.
Actions you shouldn't have been doing at that time? These two are acting like they were wild as hell back in high school. Going on about all of these in front, that boy just makes it weird anyway. Let's skip to a different part, please.
When Ms. Holt was testifying, what happened? Where did things go wrong?
Things went wrong when I caught her cheating.
Oh, what happened?
Well, on this very sunny, bright day, Miss Holt just decided not to be at school. Wasn't in none of her classes. We usually meet up in class, hallways, whatever. She wasn't there. So, you know, hey, me being me, I know something's going wrong. So I tell you what, let me skip school myself. I left school, walked 2 miles to her family's home, knocked on their door, no answer.
Caught her cheating? Y'all see these two are just treading 20-year-old Delvin. These two grown adults could have just come to the court alone and leave the boy out of this. But a point to be noted, Ms. Holt cheated, but Ms. Holt says Mr. Lillard's explanation of the situation was no good. Over to you now, Ms. Holt.
Yeah.
Who was in the house with you?
That was just a friend. Just a friend. We was not in there for no 4 hours. Matter of fact, it was like 10, 15
I left second period.
minutes.
I left second period. That's early in the morning. I left second period. Second period is early in the morning.
No, it was not.
So you got third period, fourth period, lunchtime, fifth period, and sixth period.
You was not
left.
even out there that long. I know you wasn't, because I wasn't even in the house that long.
So,
You was too busy, you wouldn't know.
You don't know. I wasn't busy doing nothing.
She wouldn't know.
so Ms. Holt, why did you finally open the door?
Because we was getting ready to leave out. It was time for a family member to come home, so I knew that I had to leave.
Ms. Holt's explanation doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. Ms. Holt claimed she opened the door because a family member was coming home, but she knew her supposed boyfriend had been at the door knocking, and to top it all off, she wouldn't open it when she and the other dude were just friends and doing nothing. Make it make sense a little bit, Ms. Holt.
You cannot deny and say that.
So you're saying that shortly after this encounter at the house where she wouldn't open the door, she says, I'm pregnant.
There you go.
You remember the day she told you?
Honestly, no, I tried to block out my mind after that. I was hurt. Like I said, that was my first time ever.
Oh, so you had the puppy love heartbreak over that.
It was my first time ever experiencing that.
Ah.
My mind. It was a wrap.
Mad crazy.
I blocked out my mind, and I ain't never forgave her for it.
Darius was not present during any point of my pregnancy. He was not present any point of him being born.
Why exactly would you expect a man that's not only heartbroken but also saw you with another man to be present at the hospital in Holt? That man seemed to have lost his mind after that heartbreak.
Delvin, what do you know about Mr. Lillard? There's a lot of conversation about what was going on before you were born. What do you know about him?
Your Honor, my mom has always told me he was my father, and I just basically came here to let him know I don't need a father. but I just really want to come to find out if he is so I can have closure, me and my mama.
Delvin says he doesn't need a father since he's a grown man himself, but he needs closure to get on with his life. Delvin needs closure, but we need the result. So let's skip to that and know if Delvin's mama is the culprit once again.
Mr. Lillard, you are not the father.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for...
Mr. Jones would rather do community service than allow Ms. Turner put him through the hoops of being her baby daddy, but Ms. Turner claims he's the biological father of her 5-month-old son, and she's going to prove that in paternity court.
Mr. Jones, you state you have always believed you are not the father of the defendant's 5-month-old son, Amir. You claim your suspicions were confirmed after receiving a text message just 3 weeks ago. Is that correct?
Ms. Turner just wants Mr. Jones to step up and sign the birth certificate of her baby, but Mr. Jones would do anything other than let his signature touch the legal paper that makes him the father of the baby. He's not sure to be for him.
Why are today's results so important to you?
I'll be wanting to claim the baby, but at the same time, I got so many doubts. Got a lot of doubt.
And I can see this is troubling for you. You are emotional about the fact that you really...
Okay, Mr. Jones is not a wicked person. Mr. Jones says he's been wanting to claim the baby, but his doubts won't just give him the chance to do that, and hence, the reason he needs to know the result of this DNA test in paternity court today. So what exactly is causing Mr. Jones's doubts?
Like you said, just 3 weeks ago, I received this text message.
What text message is that?
It's a message from Facebook, from somebody I don't even know.
Jerome, let me see that evidence. You say just 3 weeks ago.
Yes, Your Honor.
You get this message.
Yes, Your Honor.
And this message says, why you claiming that baby?
Oopsie, that was pretty detailed. So bad it was from an anonymous person. That would make anyone think twice and not want to be a fool, as the anonymous person had stated.
That day when you got this text message.
I woke up in the middle of the night, seen I had a missed message. I see that message on there, and I instantly got up and called her. Like, who is this? I asked her, do she know the person? She said no. I looked up the
It comes
person.
from a number you don't even know. Miss Turner, do you remember that night when you got that call from Mr. Jones?
Mrs. Turner says it's a little hater. Little hater? Oh, if that's a hater, that's a big hater, Ms. Turner. Not a little one. Picking 12:59 a.m. to send that kind of text don't make anyone a little hater. That person was definitely out to get Ms. Turner if indeed Mr. Jones is her baby daddy.
Who's the hater that would write that?
Female friends that don't like him being with me, so it could be one of them. It don't have to be a man. They could have stole somebody's profile.
So you think, oh, because it came from a man.
Yes, Your
But
Honor.
you didn't know who it was.
Never seen that guy a day in my life.
Never
a
seen
man
him before
told me
either.
that.
That's not how things work, Mr. Jones. Assuming and concluding that must be someone Ms. Turner used to sleep with just makes Ms. Turner's point about haters sound better than yours.
And mainly, this is why I got doubt.
All right, so take me back to that time, because that's pretty much the time that's at issue.
Take it to a neighbor's yard. He had texted her one day when I went to work, like 6 in the morning, right after I left for work, trying to come over.
Trying to come over?
Yeah.
Come over for what?
Even Ms. Turner couldn't believe that she was crying, but that's how Mr. Jones' narration goes. So Mr. Jones wants Judge Lake to see that Ms. Turner has been up to no good in terms of their relationship in the past. Okay, sir.
Receiving text messages from other men during the window of time when Amir was conceived?
No, my neighbor had text messaged me and was like, hey sis, most of my friends that I'm cool with, if I'm cool with their boyfriend or whatever, I do call, you know, that if they like a brotherly figure to me, I call them bro. They call me sis.
To be fair, why would you be calling anyone you're sleeping with bro or sis? It doesn't make any sense, like Ms. Turner pointed out. Also, Ms. Turner says it was 4 a.m. as Mr. Jones claimed. It was a 7 a.m. text instead.
Tell him when I'm going to the store, when I'm going to the bathroom, when I'm finna do something to eat. So he know everywhere I go. He know everything I do.
So, but I mean, it has to be more than just text messages.
Yes.
You believe she was actually sleeping with her ex?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Why do you believe that?
Ms. Turner believes Mr. Jones was cheating, and she too didn't have a choice. Mr. Jones believes the 5-month-old baby belongs to Ms. Turner's ex. Mr. Jones strongly thinks there may have been other dudes Ms. Turner was kicking it with, and Ms. Turner even knows for a fact that Mr. Jones have been having fun outside the house. Now we need to find out who exactly is telling the truth and the opposite.
Mr. Jones, you are the father.
Thank you. Okay. She feel better.
That don't mean all that.
It
That
do.
just mean the baby mine.
Well, listen.
Mr. Jones and his mother are in Judge Lake's court to prove he's not the biological father of Miss Milan's son. But Miss Milan wants Mr. Jones to be his baby daddy, even though she's not sure if he is the biological father of her son or not.
Mr. Jones, you and your mother are co-plaintiffs who have brought the defendant, Ms. Milan, to court to prove her 3-month-old son, Quanil Jr., is not your biological child.
Yes, Your Honor.
You claim you took Ms. Milan and her other 6 kids into your home, and now she's trying to take you for a ride by claiming and child care expenses.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Milan, though you do admit to cheating on Mr. Jones with another man, you say
Mr. Jones and his mother took Ms. Milan in with 6 kids, and she still got the time and nerve to cheat? Holy Mary, Mother of Jesus. How does that kind of mistake even happen? Because it's very predictable that Milan would call this a mistake. Anyway, Mr. Jones and his mother also want $1,500 if things go their way in court today. So let's get to it.
Why do you feel Quanil Jr. is not your son's child?
Well, Your Honor, I contacted the court 3 days after the baby was born because I watched my son break down at the hospital. You know, he was going to be devastated if this child wasn't his. It doesn't make sense to not know.
Her mother and my mother was neighbors. When she moved back home with her mom,
when I first, moved home with my mom, I noticed him. She was like, this Mr. Jones, he lived next door.
Okay, it is Ms. Jones that is playing detective in this case, but it is not bad for one's mother to have their back anyway, as long as the mother isn't meddling negatively. So the mothers were involved in Ms. Milan and Mr. Jones getting together. It was even looking like an ordained movement, but you never know.
Why were you entertaining this?
We started off, we were just friends. I'll go outside, smoke, he'll play with the boys, my 6 other boys. Eventually they got the mom.
So he became close with the kids, he would play with the kids?
Yeah, he became real close.
And did you enjoy that interaction, having someone there, a father?
Ms. Milan says she enjoyed Mr. Jones being a father figure to her 6 boys while he played around with them. Hello? Who wouldn't? Most single mothers would jump at that opportunity. It's rare to see any man want to fill in that kind of really deep void, but Mr. Jones stepped up.
Sexual relations, I didn't take it, serious at the time. I was with my ex at the time, so.
Oh, you were? You were still with your ex?
Yeah, so that's when I kind of, leaned back off of Mr. Jones.
Yeah, no one should be having sex with their friends. It never ends well. But why was Ms. Milan even having sex with the neighbor anyway? Because he was helping with the kids or what?
So, Mr. Jones, you thought this was just, what?
I feel like once I approached her, you know what I'm saying, I tried to make her my lady, she chose her ex over me.
You felt like you were, runner-up?
Yeah.
Oh, so Mr. Jones already even went all out to ask Ms. Milan to be his lady and she turned him down? Oh no. How do you expect the man to see you afterwards, ma'am? Nobody likes to be the second option, especially not to a woman with 6 whole kids. That's a little bit over the top, Ms. Milan. And y'all can bet on it that the ex in question was no good. Anyway, Ms. Milan says she cut her ex off immediately. She started having sexual relations with Mr. Jones. Okay.
Children, said the doctor told me.
Why'd you say you couldn't have children, Mr. Jones?
Because I used to play sports in school or whatever, so I had to, have a full body physical.
Unable to have children?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Jones thought he couldn't have kids? Now here's the reason he's doubting the paternity of that baby more than anything. Ms. Jones was being too sweet with her, allowing Ms. Milan and her 6 kids to come live at her house. That's something only a person with a big heart would do.
Ms. Milan and the children at first?
Yes, he left.
When I left, I didn't come back home from the bar or whatever like that. And she seen that I ended up conversating with my ex, so they started an argument. So I left that day. And when I left, I went to a bar with my friends or whatever like that. My ex so happened to appear there.
So Mr. Jones was also caught up on his ex, and that turned out to be a problem. But did that ex just appear there, or she and Mr. Jones had already planned to meet there? Let's be honest, this isn't a cute movie scene. Seeing how Mr. Jones is laughing, that surely means his ex didn't just appear.
3.5 weeks pregnant. I was like, by who? You know what I'm saying? She said it's a possibility, it's yours. I know that, you know what I'm saying? Then she was like, I had sex with my ex or whatever like that. So she was like, it's a possibility it could have been him too.
So she tells you?
She tells
right
me
off
being
the bat.
honest, right off the bat.
It could be yours.
Straightforward.
It could be his.
Mm-hmm. When I found out she stopped taking the birth control, the first thing I done was I gave my son some condoms because she has 6 kids already and I know she's fertile.
Mr. Jones is asking by who like he didn't engage in the activity activity to make that happen. However, Ms. Milan happens to be straight up honest with Mr. Jones about her ex being a potential father too. Ms. Jones talking about giving her son condoms because Ms. Milan is fertile, like she could vouch for him that he used them. Let's know if this alleged sterile man birthed this baby or not.
Prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Jones versus Milan, when it comes to 3-month-old Quenelle Milan, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Jones, you are not the father. I'm so sorry.
I didn't know.